Hello, in this video we're going to look at pitch correction and other ways that we can use pitch correction to kind of manipulate audio and get a bit creative. So this is in line with the audio editing criteria from the DAW production unit. It is likely in the final exam, the final assessment, that you'll be given some audio that you have to work with. It's possible there could be a vocal track. It might be slightly out of pitch. It might need complete transposition, or it may need a few notes to be kind of pulled into place where the singer might have gone a bit out of tune. So we're going to look at how we can do that in now. So you should have access to this folder, FW vocals, and there are 3 audio tracks. You've got a lead vocal track, a backing vocal track, and the instrumental track. So we're going to drag and drop all 3 of these into Logic to get started. So select them all, click and hold, drag into Logic, and we're going to create new tracks because we want each of these audio clips to sit on their own track. Great, I'll delete the first track here. Okay, so if we have a listen, I'll turn it down just in case it's loud. It's the backing track there.
The table, smoking cigarettes.
Okay, so instrumental track, some backing vocals, and we can see from the waveforms that these come in as one section at the beginning, and then there's some sort of harmonizing in the choruses over here. So we're going to mute the backing track for the moment because we only want to deal with the lead, and I'm going to loop the first 16 bars or so of this first section, so we can kind of just focus on this. So what we can do is, if we double click on the audio clip for the lead vocal track, it will open up the audio editing window at the bottom, and we can see the waveforms. So in the same place that we opened up flex time, where we were able to edit the transients and the flex markers to move things from sort of left to right and slow things down and speed things up, we can open up flex pitch, which is in the same place. So this little DNA molecule here, if we click on this, it will ask us if we want to turn on flex. Yes, we do. It will analyze the audio file, and then it will turn on our flex tool. So this drop down menu next to the DNA molecule gives us a few options. Most of them are flex time, but the one at the very top is flex pitch. So if we click on this, it will change the view of our audio editing window, and if we zoom in, we can see that it's actually analyzed each of the notes that this vocalist is singing. So if we put the cursor here and zoom in some more, and if we hit play, we should be able to see the vocal notes as they go up and down.
That's all in my heart, and it's all 'cause of you. That's all in my heart, and it's all 'cause of you.
Okay, so the blue rectangles are the notes that are being played. You'll see they tally up with the keyboard, the piano roll on the left-hand side, so we can see that she's singing a C3 here. As well as the blue rectangles, we can also see these wavy white lines. So this is sort of fine-tuning, I guess. So the rectangle are the main notes that are being sung, and then the white lines are the fine-tuning. So as she sings, there may be some variation in the pitch, very slightly, some slight kind of vibrato or wobbles, and we can see that this goes up and down with the white lines.
That's all in my heart, all in my heart.
So this is where we can get into editing the notes. So the easiest thing that we can sort of start doing is actually just moving the notes up and down. So we can get a bit messy with this if we kind of push things around too far. So let's just kind of do some extreme movements. So it's going to sound a bit ridiculous, but it kind of helps demonstrate the point. Okay, so you can move these notes around anywhere you want. Let's just undo all of that. If we think that maybe some notes are a little bit flat, we can sort of snap them back into place. So if we find this note here, if we look at the grid lines here, these little sort of like grayed out lines, we can see the actual slots in which sort of the notes resides. So this is a little bit flat, so we could potentially snap it back into place by double clicking on it, and it will move it right onto the note. So this is one way that we can start to fix issues with pitch. Oops. Okay, so we can move notes around. We could change. We could maybe move the notes around a few semitones if we wanted to actually change the melodic line. So you can start to kind of vary the melodic line if you wanted. If you push notes quite far away from where they originated, you will start to notice some artifacts, and it may not sound great. So if you are going to change the melodic line, try and keep the notes that you move it to fairly close by. Okay, that doesn't really sound very good. I'm going to undo that. Okay, so that's moving the notes around pitch-wise. Let's have a look at the some of these extra functions with these little dots, these little nodes that are surrounding the rectangles. So each one of these notes will have its own selection of 6 dots, and they do various things. So the one on the bottom left-hand corner is the gain, so the volume. So you can make notes louder and quieter, and you can see that's reflected in the audio file. So I could make this quite loud, or I can make it quieter. What else have we got? We've got our fine pitch, so we can adjust. So if it's very slightly sharp or very slightly flat, we can adjust that with the fine pitch. That's different to moving. That's different to moving the note whole kind of steps or in semitones. You've also got pitch drift. So this is related to the white line that we see here. If we move the pitch drift, we can kind of bring the wobbly kind of white line up and down. So if I put it all the way down, then we'll see a bit more of a kind of pitch scooping up. You'll notice that the white line for this note does, when you move it, it also affects the white line for the note either side of it, because even though these are separate notes, the vocalist is singing the notes into each other in a legato fashion. So if you make amendments to the pitch drift here, it's going to have an impact on the note before it. You can also do pitch drift for the other side of the note as well. So similar to pitch drift, we've got vibrato, and this will basically enable us to either emphasize the kind of the wobbly movement of the white line, or we'll be able to flatten it out. So if we drag it up, we can make it really overemphasize it. Which could be used as a creative effect, or we can flatten it out. If the vibrato is too much, then we can rein it in a little bit. Now, when we flatten this out, we actually found that the end of the note kind of still kind of went up, so we could adjust this with pitch drift.
That's all.
So we've made the note pitch really quite flat. When you do this quite extreme, the way that I've done it, you'll find that actually it sounds a bit robotic because the human voice doesn't really work in this way. So having some movement in the notes is more natural. So you have to be quite careful when you're doing this kind of fine adjustment, unless of course you're going for a full-on creative effect. The final control that we'll look at here is the formant. So I'll just play it. If you drag it up, you'll see that it kind of changes the tonality of the notes.
That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all.
If you wanted to maybe move the note up and then bring the formant down.
That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all.
Now we're going to look at harmonization. So that's when you might have a vocal line and then another vocal line on top, which is singing different notes, so they kind of harmonize with each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to a section of the track where there's some backing vocals. And if I remember correctly, the backing vocals are singing in unison. They're singing the same part, I think.
That's all. And my heart, and it's all 'cause of you.
So let's go into this audio clip. Double click. Click on the DNA molecule. Turn on flex. Change it to flex pitch. And let's find the section of the audio that we want to affect. Here we go. Right, I was I was zoomed in quite high up, which is why I couldn't see the actual flex notes. So I just had to go down, search down to find it. So here are our notes, the same way as we had them in the first audio clip.
That's all.
Bring that here.
That's all. And my heart, and it's all 'cause of you.
I'm just going to turn off this inspector so I've got a bit more space.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to change the notes. I'm not going to use any theory knowledge or knowledge of scales to do this. I'm going to do this purely by ear. If you do know, if you are comfortable with your scales and harmonization techniques, then you could work out what the key signature is, find the root note, and then make adjustments there. But I'm going to do this by ear just to show that you don't need to know this. Okay.
That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. And my that's all. And my that's all. And my heart.
Oops.
That's all. And my heart. 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 And it's all. That's all. And my heart. And it's all. That's all. And my heart. And it's all.
Okay, so I've just harmonised the first section. That was really trial and error. I did it quite quickly because I've done this before, so I kind of had some idea of where I was going with the notes. But just with a bit of time and effort and paying attention to the notes you're listening to and repeating it over and over again and listening back, you can quite easily sort of gradually put the notes into new positions and find something that works. I didn't do too much of it, but you can also adjust the pitch drift and the vibrato if some of the notes need a bit of reining in, and also the gain. We've got lots of variations in volume, so perhaps this is a bit quiet compared to this section here, so I might boost the gain here just to kind of make it more consistent. This one here is quite loud, so I might bring that down a little bit. Let's listen to it one more time. Oops.
There's a hole in my heart, and it's all 'cause of you.
Okay, cool. There we go. So that's flex pitch.